Welcome back to Breaking Borderlands. Now, I was done this series, or so I thought, but there were a few people who had commented after watching, asking why I didn't show a Zane build. That's because my original Zane build here, I got from another YouTuber. It's just an infinite firing, Shred-a-Fire. Pretty straightforward. But I had a few people that, well, why'd you show us three different Moes, one Amara, and two, Flax. And honestly, to be completely honest, I really don't play Zane like that, but I decided to go back to the grind and try and come up with something. So this took me about a day and hours to throw together, but I have a interesting mechanic to show with this, because I wanted to make a movement-based build. You know, the faster you go, the more damage you do. Did not end up that way, still uses that concept, but it's I must say it's one of my most devastating builds for close range. So, I'll explain here in a bit. Once this all loads. Now the main concept here is we are going to be infinitely firing a Backburner. So the way that this is going to work is we have our Backburner and we have a transformer. Now normally you can't absorb the bullets from the explosions. It'll just absorb the electricity and keep your shields up, which is still super useful. But, so I got this with cooldown rate just because the action skills are key to this process, but you're going to want the Sentinel active cryo damage bonus. I don't have it on this one just because that's already cryo damage, and I keep a Plague Bearer for long distance kills, so I'll explain in a moment. We have the Seeing Dead, just so that we can keep our skills active longer. We have a Snowdrift Victory Rush. The Snowdrift isn't a big part of it, it's more the Victory Rush. And then we have a Mesmer, just because possessing an enemy to fight for us is very beneficial to the build. Now, as the build goes in, just for the cooldown rate, same thing with, we have Ready for Action, 5 out of 5, just for some more shields. We took Man of Focus just to get down to Commitment and then Fugitive, because you're going to want to be able to sprint and fire at the same time, and extra cooldown rate and gun damage is always useful. This is just to get down there, really. The others did not supply. Blue Tree is pretty much self-explanatory, but we got the 5 out of 5 in Violent Speed and Violent Momentum. We took 5 out of 5 in Cold Bore. That's for our long-range weapon, and I'll explain that in a minute. We took the Drone Delivery, just so that there would be some grenades thrown. Seeing Red, to give our kill skills better effect. The 2 in Violent Violence is from our mod. We got 5 out of 5 in Playing Dirty. We took 3 out of 3 in Good Misfortune, just to keep our action skills active longer, and then Death Follows Close. Finally, in the Red Tree, we took 5 out of 5 in Synchronicity. We took 3 out of 3 in Praemuntus, whatever that is. We took 5 out of 5 in Donnybrook. We took 4 out of 5 in Duct Tape Mod, 3 out of 3 in Supersonic Man, and then 3 out of 3 in Trick of the Light. Now, Trick of the Light is what is allowing us to do this infinite fire combo. I tested it out. This is the skill that's allowing it to happen, because the bonus cryo damage is what allows the transformer to actually absorb the projectiles. So the reason we have the mesmer is because when the mesmer hits enemies, they take the bonus cryo damage from Trick of the Light, because they stop focusing on me and turn on their brethren. Now, the way that this works, epilepsy warning, if you have it, don't watch the screen. Honestly, this build, I don't watch the screen, I watch the radar, because we are literally firing at our feet, which is keeping our clip fed and doing massive amounts of damage and keeping our shields maxed, like, all the time on each other. Their player indicators on the radar will turn from red to white, so that just lets you know that those people are going to take more damage. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, what if somebody is electricity immune or has a high resistance? That's why we need to have the cryo damage in the background from your sentinel being active. But then you can use the snowdrift for mobility to hopefully get to the next battle before your skills wear off. But you really don't need to be wearing the shield. Honestly, you could leave it out for your teammates and just come by it occasionally. Personally, because I play solo, I have it set up for movement speed, which is just giving me more damage when I run past it. But if you wanted to switch it up, you could have it to the shield charge delay and healing for your teammates. That is totally an option if you're playing multiplayer. But you can see I have yet to reload. Honestly, one of the coolest things that I find is because there is a black hole effect where it's pulling in the enemies. If you have a very tough enemy, but they're light enough for the pull effect to affect them, then you just have them stuck in damage. Not to mention, if something is far away, your drone helps to take care of that, but we're going to let those things cool down real quick, because I'm going to explain so you can see that this is very dependent on me being close by the explosion. What if I can't reach the target? What if I can't get close to it? That's why we have the Plague Bearer in the background, and we took Cold Bore, because swapping weapons now gives that 200% cryo damage. So we'll go ahead, activate our skills. If you have the top weapons, and while standing in the explosion of your Backburner, you're going to swap over to the Plague Bearer. The reason you're doing this is not only to get that Cold Bore effect every single time, but it also allows for the ammo absorption to refill your clip. Now, if you really wanted to, you could just use it regularly, fire it off a few times, and then eventually reload. But you can see that that still takes up some time and whatnot. Now, if you flip back over to your Backburner, you can see I have that decrease in ammo. I should be at a clip of 11 and have 40 in the background. So if we just stand here for a second, and don't like super tap it, but just tap it occasionally, you can have all of your ammo come back. So you can get down to those last few rounds and then absorb the backburner back into your ammo. So when I say it's infinite, it pretty much can be. You just got to watch what you're doing. So not to mention, because we have the momentum boosters, you can have your slide go even faster for traveling around a level. But it'll be very rare when something's going to do enough damage to you to get past you recharging your shields and then take out your health. But it can happen, and when it does, there's one major warning I must give, and that is, while you're in fight for your life, this whole setup does not work. You will not be reabsorbing ammo. So make sure you make your shots count if you're in fight for your life. Other than that, it is pretty straightforward and self-explanatory. You are the shock trooper. Alright. So now that we're almost here to old Captain Trant, now it will take a little more time if you don't have the bonus cryo going in the background, but that's one of the reasons we have a bunch of cooldown skills. We really want to have the shortest amount of time without the Sentinel drone that we can possibly have. So we could go ahead and buy one, really, $685 just for one rocket. Really? It says I still need to refill ammo. Oh, there's still one more rocket. How about that? Alright, so now, this is where things are going to get interesting. So we're going to go ahead, shield, drone, grab your shield, get to him as fast as possible, and just mess his day up. Now, if you can sprint and shoot while you're doing this, it's even better, but why? He was even resisting the cold damage, and he still got wrecked. So, large firestorm with incendiary, that's nice. Chaos Sun. Spark plug white elephant. So, yeah, that's the build. Now, you're probably asking yourself again, it can't be that good, especially if they're resistant to lightning, that's all the damage you're doing. I disagree. And to prove my point, I'm going to, as quickly as possible, head to Promethea and to Lectra City and take out Kilovolt. Now, the thing about Kilovolt is he is immune to electricity damage, and I have shown in previous videos how you can use radiation and a spark plug to take him out. Even though the spark plug is electricity damage, you get the point. My spark plug method is still faster than this, but it's still a decent enough build to murk him using electricity damage. So that's why I was making the comparison. It's basically one of those moments of, this shouldn't work, and it does. Now I'm going to be speedrunning as best I can past all this stuff. Has slowed me down. There we go. Now hopefully the drone will keep doing damages, which will allow those skills to stay up, which will keep my mobility up longer. But It's no big deal if they don't. That's why we have the snowdrift. Now, I was thinking about going and grabbing a toboggan for this, but the way that we rapid fire, it does more damage than if we were to slide, shoot, and yes, it would be good if you were taking on a long-range target. That way you could slide and do the swap after you refill your Plague Bearer. But I'm just going to stick with the Victory Rush. Just because it's better for mobbing and can sometimes be useful in a boss fight. But because we have the Transformer on, his attacks are not going to hurt us anyway. Yeah, you better run. But there is a bit of warning I need to give about this fight if you're using this setup. Immunity phase. But you can see how the cryo damage in the background is just plenty. And again, we're not taking any form of damages. Surge. So yeah, there's still some leeway when it comes to electricity immune or resistant enemies. So you can see this aggro Tink, the anointed Tink. Most of the time they like to zip around and dodge all of your attacks. He didn't even have a chance. He was just held in place. So, super useful benefit when it comes to doing this. Now, because of the fact that I have duct tape mod and my weapons do not affect me, you know, this is cryo damage. Infinite farm for kilovolt here. The easiest way to get around that. You can either let the mobs take you out, but I prefer to fall down here because this radiation damage will sure do the trick. So we just go down, respawn. Now that we're back, so is kilovolt. So, bit of warning that I'm going to give is if you don't activate your shield up here, the floor eats it. So, anywhere that you throw this thing on the floor, it does not spawn. So if you already fell down here, the easiest thing to do, throw it on top of one of these ammo chests. That'll give it enough of a platform to spawn. But again, major epilepsy warning. This game is already bad enough for tons of flashing lights. This build has just made it worse because you're inside the explosion every time. But as long as you're firing and standing in it, infinite ammo, infinite shields, infinite skills. So all in all, I do like this build. It is quite nice. Sickle. And again, it's electricity immune. So a fight like this or anything where electricity is their big damage dealer, you got nothing to worry about. But yeah, ooh, what'd you get? What'd you get? What'd you get? Oh, come on. Eh. So, yeah. You guys wanted a Zane build? There's a Zane build. The infinite backburner. Or, I guess I could call it Chef Chef Zane, just because we're using a backburner, cooking with electric, and the whole concept of the black holes holding them in place while you just rotate a... So, yeah. Interesting concept to a build. Not to mention, I found it funny that I found a way to use the transformer for infinite rocket launchers. So, hopefully you found this informative and entertaining, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.